Hello, Todd Lewis from Mainline Dyno here. This video is going to show you about putting some vehicle details into the CCS system before we do any testing. So from the front screen or the main screen here, you'll notice a database tab. If I click on that, it opens up where we can actually add customers and vehicles. So there's only a couple of customers in here. So if I wanted to add a new customer, we go new customer. And we'll just call this customer CCS video guy, for example. You can type in whatever details you want. You know, go close. You see there's a new customer here. Then I would click new vehicle, and I can identify. You can put makes and models in. We'll just put Ford car or something, whatever. You might want to put, say, Ford, we'll just call it XD Falcon or something like that, whatever the car happens to be. The more important stuff is down the bottom here, where you'll notice here there's always a default drive ratio. So what we've done in the CCS system is to stop users forgetting to put a derived RPM figure in. For example, in a Dynlog system, it ultimately ends up with 0 derived RPM and other questions it always generates. We have a default ratio that always is applied. So there'll always be a derived RPM value. It may not be correct, but at least it'll then you generate the question. But it's a simple answer. You haven't set the drive ratio. So the vehicle has, for example, a 411 diff ratio. You put that in now and click use now. You can put the mass of the vehicle in because it is used in the drive function. Put in a drag coefficient. If you happen to know that information, you can do that. If you put in the tyre specifications, we can add them here. And calculate diameter. It'll show you here in inches and millimeters. I'll go and use now. So this information is used for calculating road speed, which is effectively used in the as from a control standpoint. It's actually used in the drag test, the actual tire ratio here. So we've got that now. Put some basic details in and close. So that's the main difference between a Dynlog system and the CCS system is this is a full database system rather than like a folder structure in Windows. So I've got this car here now. I can click new session, and I'll click on new session. You give it a name, and we might just call it, say, factory test or something like that. If I'm testing a dyno, I can go use current weather. It'll apply it there, and I activate it. So now we've got an active session going. So now when we start doing tests, it will automatically apply runs to this actual session here. If you don't activate a session, you will get a warning, and it'll still collect data, but they'll be plotted under a main generic database in here, which you can then reapply back to sessions and customers. So you don't if you forget to initiate the database, all this if you forget to initiate a session, they're always saved anyway. So the customer's added now. If I go back to dyno, you'll see something when we go to the ramp test. So see here now the drive ratio is now 411. So because I've used that, so the program now, this is like a global number that's now used to, so as you drive this, when you do a ramp test, it'll all be plotted over engine RPM. So if we go configure ramp test, so if you want to start to go from 2,000 to 6,400 RPM, we've got a ramp rate there of 470, or you can just change these values to whatever you want. So the main difference here again on the CCS system for the ramp test is you'll see that there is a ramp rate of engine RPM per second, not axle RPM per second. The equivalent axle RPM per second is shown over here. So you can actually, so if I change this, you can actually just change the axle speed like this. You see the equivalent axle RPM change over here, but this is engine RPM per second. So if I put that back to there, it'll show you how long the actual test is going to go for. But you can see this number here. That's what's actually used for when we do a test, and also on the main screen, this valid engine speed target is based off that 411 value. So that's a quick rundown of putting the vehicle details into the database, and the system is then ready to go. If you don't put any vehicle details in, the system will just pick up the generic 3.9 ratio, and you'll be able to have load. You can do a ramp test. It's just the derived RPM value is going to be wrong. So that's a quick overview of the vehicle entries in the database format. Thanks.